What is happening, my beautiful people? Sorry for the brief hiatus. The Christmas season was a bit of a rush for old Jake Ball this year, but that just means that we've got a lot of catching up to do. Now, I've got a selection of reviews lined up for films new and old that I've been eating up over the Christmas season, and that's going to occupy my release schedule for the few weeks and months to come.
What would you do if you accidentally discovered the house next door was occupied by something not human?
But for now, I thought we'd get back into the swing of things with a more traditional tier list video, not just so we can hop back on that YouTube algorithm bandwagon, but also so we can get warmed up for 2026 by covering 7 different films in one today and reviewing the Scottish accents contained within each. Before we start ranking the best attempts and the worst butcherings this accent has ever seen, I'll run you down the lay of the land when it comes to my ranking of these accents, what I'm looking for when it comes to an S tier Scottish accent, and what you're wanting to avoid to no end up in the bottom leagues. Rule number 1. Authenticity. Arguably the most important factor of all to my ear. I'm wanting to hear accents that sound like I expect them to. I'm wanting actors who have done their homework on the accent and learned off the people here, not just watched a bit of Lord of the Rings and went, aye, they sound a bit like dwarves, eh?
Ah, yes, the dwarves that go swimming with little hairy women.
So, put simply, the more you sound like a genuine Auld Wildoon the Boozer, the higher on this tier list you're going. Rule 2. Iconism. How iconic and relevant is this accent today? Do people still love this character in Scotland and hold him to a high regard? Like, if folk in Scotland still make references and jokes about the character, then that's a big bonus for them on this tier list. And finally, rule number 3. Funny. Is the accent funny to me? If yes, then you're going to get bonus points going forward. So without any further suspense, let's start the official, approved and licensed Scottish accent tier list. First up, we're going to look at 2 films that I referenced and spoke briefly on last video. I think these 2 are a good place to start because A, I've already covered them before, so I'm just wanting to get them out of the way so I don't recycle some of the things I've already said, and B, I think they're honestly 2 very opposing examples, one of them regarded by me as one of the best Scottish accents ever put to screen, and the other being total... Alright, just like last time, let's start with Braveheart. I'm dying on this Braveheart is shite hill and there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop me. Again, I've already touched on what I think of this film in my last video and my opinion on the accent, but I don't think I really got across just how blinding that aspect of the film is to me. Even if some of the other performances and set pieces are okay, the second I hear that fucking voice again...
For presenting yourselves on this battlefield, I give you thanks.
That's a bit sudden, but alright.
I just can't, man, honestly. Apparently Mel Gibson had dinner with Sean Connery to try and get some lessons going into Braveheart.
It's all for nothing if you don't have freedom.
Aye, well it doesn't show. At all. Braveheart is absolutely a how not to do it example of the accent, and I'm not trying to be elitist here or anything. I ken it's a hard accent to do right, especially when you factor in all the different regions of Scotland and how the accent can differ between them, but if there's one thing I cannot stand, it's that fucking half Irish, half like royal pronunciation or some shit into this traditional, kinda vaguely Scottish accent, kinda Monty Python side character voice.
It's resting, look.
Look, my lad, I know a dead parrot when I see one, and I'm looking at one right now.
And to give Gibson a bit of credit, right, many actors and actresses have fallen into that trap when attempting this accent, as we will definitely be seeing later down the list. All that being said, I was, and still think I should, put Gibson into F tier. I loathe Braveheart. But I did say extra points for iconography, and if there's one thing this film has on me, it's that many Scots hate me for hating it as much as I do. And a lot of people will still claim that it's properly iconic. So taking that into account, I'll show him some mercy and stick him into E tier. But that just means the worst is yet to come. Jumping straight from the very worst to the very best, we move to Trainspotting. Now obviously with this film being set in Edinburgh, all the central characters are Scottish, so there's a lot of different accents to choose from, but one kinda unspoken rule about this video that I didn't go over before is that I'm focusing on accents attempted by people outside of Scotland. Someone who has to learn the accent either through a family member, a tutor, or just some random friend or colleague. Actors like Ewan McGregor or Robert Carlyle aren't going to qualify for this tier list, as it would be pretty mental to judge how well they can do their own accent. Going by that rule, The only actor in Trainspotting that would qualify is Johnny Lee Miller as Sick Boy. Easily one of the best examples of the accent ever put to screen. Not just that, but it fits really well with the character.
I got a good price for it. Rents, I need the money.
It was my fucking telly!
Oh Christ, if I'd known you were going to get so humpty about it, I wouldn't have bothered.
You can tell Miller spent time around actual Scotsmen because his accent has this very authentic Edinburgh city boy vibe to it, which obviously works brilliantly with the character. In the authenticity sector especially, this one knocks it out of the bloody park. Honestly, to a Scottish ear, this sounds pretty much indistinguishable from a native accent. But yet again, I'm beating a bit of a dead horse when it comes to these two, as I've given a lot of my thoughts on them before. So we're going to move swiftly onwards and stick Sick Boy straight up into S tier. The late, great Robin Williams in one of his most iconic roles, Mrs Doubtfire. Many different influences went into this accent. Williams has spoke on how that specific voice for the character actually took ages to brainstorm and land on, going through various evolutions.
It's kind of it's a synthesis of, it's like a Glaswegian accent.
Williams has often said that his grandmother was a key influence for the voice. But in that same interview he also mentions famed Scottish director Bill Forsyth and the time Williams had spent with him recently as another factor as to why Mrs Doubtfire ended up Scottish.
And then I got more like Margaret Thatcher on steroids and I went down. And then I slowly but surely kind of took a little bit of Bill Forsyth and a little bit of this costume designer who's this wonderful sweet lady named Merritt and combined them and got this gentle, gentle voice of Mrs Doubtfire who can still say, "Get away!"
Williams had just starred in the 1994 film Being Human, alongside Ewan McGregor and directed by Forsyth. If you're wanting some deep Scottish icon lore here, both Winston and Bobby the Barman from Still Game also act in Being Human, and the actor that plays Winston, Paul Riley, claimed in an interview that he was another influence in making Mrs Doubtfire Scottish.
Do you know what, I was reading, I don't know if it was an interview, but I didn't know you worked on a film with Robin Williams.
I did, myself and Gavin Mitchell,
That's amazing. What was it like?
The next movie he did after that was Mrs Doubtfire. And that's why Mrs Doubtfire has a Scottish accent.
You're joking?
Oh,
no, that's a great story.
It's true.
Because I've always wondered that.
There you go.
Because, no, but they do say she's English in the film, but you're going, but that's a Scottish accent.
Yeah. In fact, I'm claiming that it was me. You need to go inspired.
Now I'm not going to mince words here, I absolutely adore this film. This one was a big part of my childhood and I've probably seen it close to 100 times over. So that could play a particular bias in my ranking. So let's talk purely in terms of accuracy of the accent. I have heard some mixed things from a lot of Scots, but I'm going to actually provide evidence and attempt to definitively prove that Mrs Doubtfire is a fairly authentic Scottish accent. Firstly, let's hear some more Mrs Doubtfire clips.
Oh dear, well they say a man who has to buy a big car like that's trying to compensate for smaller genitals, is he?
Would you like something to drink?
Oh yes, a good stiff Chardonnay. No dear, sink the sub. Hide the weasel, park the porpoise, rumple foreskin, baloney bop. Bit of the old cunning linguistics.
Now, take a listen to this clip of Gordon Ramsay's mum.
Why have you done this and why is almonds there? Look, it's almonds.
Yeah, almonds. I'm going to put the almonds on top.
Do you know the traditional recipe for Eve's pudding hasn't got your fruit soaked in it and it hasn't got almonds?
No,
Delia Smith's recipe of Eve's pudding.
Right.
It's nice working together, Gordon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Don't get used to it, because it's not happening again.
No, I know.
Yeah, all right, good.
Fairly similar, I'd say. Fairly fucking identical, I'd say. And I mean, what's more authentically Scottish than Gordon Ramsay's mum? Andy Murray's mum? Aye, Mrs Doubtfire's Scottish as they come. Get her in S tier. In Rob Roy, we actually have two non-Scots in leading roles trying their hands at the accent, with Liam Neeson starring as the titular Robert Roy McGregor and Jessica Lange playing his wife Mary McGregor. Let's start with Jessica Lange, as her voice is pretty infamous.
Is that why you sent them away? To tell me how fine I am? Or did you want to make a silk purse?
Now yeah, from hearing that you might be thinking, oh god, that is bad. That's really bad. But I've got to admit that her performance outside of the accent in this film is actually pretty f***ing spectacular, which can kind of distract from the accent. But still, if we're judging purely based on authenticity standards, then this one is a total stinker. Also, I don't think Rob Roy is seen as a particularly iconic film in Scotland. People might remember it if you say, oh, mind that Liam Neeson Jacobite film. They might have vague glimpses of it then, but I wouldn't say it's particularly iconic or anything. But to place Jessica Lange on the tier list, I'm going to give her personal arbitrary bonus points here, because A, she's American, so that's a huge switch up, and although it sounds very unnatural, she does kind of pull it off considering how great her acting is. C tier. Now it's on to Neeson. Now I'm trying to be fair here, like with Lange. If an actor comes from a country that has a totally different dialect to Scotland, they're getting brownie points for just giving it a go, as there's clearly a lot more effort involved. Liam Neeson is Irish, right? All I'm saying is, we're closer by, and we're closer linked historically and culturally, it should be a bit easier. So dialing back my patronising brownie routine, let's take a listen to Neeson's accent.
This is Robert Roy McGregor, come to reclaim the 32 beasts stolen from his lordship, James Graham, Marquis of Montrose.
All right, lads. Enough of the finer things. You've animals to tend to and water to haul. Away with you.
Up! Get up, you bunch of ragged-ass tinker-cowsies.
What happened? I can't be alone in thinking this is just a slightly more dwarven Liam Neeson, right? Like, that's just his normal fucking voice, right? I suppose he gets away with it because, again, we're in fucking period piece territory where everyone can talk like fucking Postman Pat and get away with it.
Come on, Jess. Stretch your paws.
Come on, man. Not even gonna add like any sort of grit or rasp. I think this is another Braveheart situation, boys. I hate this film because I hate that fucking voice. His accent gives the film this whimsical fantasy atmosphere, and then there's just relentless, depressing violence throughout the entire runtime. The tone is all over the place for me, and I don't really enjoy watching it because of that. I actually like the movie more than I like Braveheart, just because the acting is so good, and the side characters are a bit more lively, with John Hurt and Brian Cox's characters especially, but still, I'm thoroughly disappointed in you, Liam Neeson. You're not even getting any extra brownie points because, as discussed, this film isn't even particularly well remembered. Liam Neeson, I'm sorry, you're a pretty great actor and I love you, but you're a first F tier accent. Oh aye, Brave. Fucking remember that film? Again, a big Scottish cast here. We've got Kelly MacDonald back for Trainspotting playing protagonist Merida. Now I know I said I'm not ranking Scottish people, but good God, Merida's voice gets on my fucking tits, man. What were you doing?
Every carving and one spell. Dad, the Bear King? If he so much as sees you, you're dead.
Mind that Irish RP fucking Monty Python voice I talked about earlier? Well, usually I just refer to it as the Brave voice, because Merida here is my prime example. It's a voice that sounds like nails down a fucking chalkboard to me. Merida isn't even the character I wanted to talk about in this Brave segment, as again, Kelly MacDonald is Scottish, but just because I have so much personal spite for this voice, I'm sticking her into F tier anyway. I don't give a fuck. She's notorious with me. Scouring the cast list for a non-Scot, we land on Englishwoman Emma Thompson as Queen Eleanor. And unbelievably, her voice is actually better than Merida's.
Hungry, aren't we?
Mom.
You get dreadful collywobbles. Oh, Fergus. Will you look at your daughter's plate? Boys, you're not. Don't just play with your haggis.
It's good, but it's no great. It still has a lot of things missing. No rolling your R's, a bit monotone. I know that's fucking rich coming for me, but I find the Scottish accent is often very high and low, emotive when speaking.
I'll have the tuna.
Tuna! Tuna me! Tuna! Tuna! What is it with arseholes in the letter T? Scottish guys, mate, real guys, we pronounce that T with a ch.
It's not as torturous to me as Merida's voice though, so for that, she's just going to earn C tier. Not spending too much time on Brave. I think everybody, Scottish or not, just kind of thinks this movie is a bit meh, a bit bland, a bit mayonnaisey.
A little bit seamony.
So let's get on.
'Tis your voice raised, sir, and you would lower it in my presence.
I have such inheritance by blood, regardless of who I marry or do not marry.
I know your heart has more within it than the men who counsel you. Covered with fire!
Okay, that's not quite fair. I think that considering Saoirse Ronan is Irish-American, she does have a lot more to do than Kelly MacDonald to get to that somewhat accurate, while still annoying Brave voice. To give Ronan some credit, she only really falls into that voice the more loud and intense moments during the film. In the quieter talking scenes, and by God there's a lot of them, she does do a pretty good job with the accent, and it doesn't just sound Irish, which seems to be what a lot of aforementioned Irish actors just seem to do. The film's a bit boring, the accent's a bit shit, but I don't hate it enough to care really. C. Now this one's probably the most famous bad Scottish accent ever put to screen, with Christopher Lambert here as Highlander.
I don't like boats, I don't like water. I'm a man, not a fish.
Ramirez's blade did not cut deeply enough. You was right about you, you're a slime.
Heather, please.
Now don't get me wrong, it's bad. It's fucking bad. Especially when acting alongside Sean Connery. I mean, come on now, how much pressure are we going to put on this lad here? Not only does he have to play an immortal Scottish hero, he's got to do it alongside an immortal and legendary Scottish actor. Not to mention that Sean Connery, the only Scottish actor in this fucking Scottish movie, plays an Egyptian character called, and I'm not shitting you one single bit here, Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez.
I cannot swim, you Spanish peacock.
I'm not Spanish, I'm Egyptian.
You said you were from Spain.
I want to shaft this movie, I want to hate on this movie and on this accent, but I do feel like it's beating a dead horse in a sense. Everybody knows that this voice is bad. In the case of Highlander though, I don't think the accent distracts in the same way it does with like Rob Roy or Braveheart. Maybe this is because Highlander is technically an immortal demigod, so it's at first a bit naive for me to think he's going to sound like a true Scotsman. And also the film's tone overall is a lot more gothic and stylised with like that 80s action movie charm. For that, he's going to get some extra points for me in the icon sector, and come on, we've all got to admit he's fucking hilarious to listen to, so that boosts him in sector 3.
Haggis? What is haggis?
Sheep's stomach stuffed with meat and barley.
And what do you do with it?
You eat it!
I think for that, we'll stick him into D tier. The authenticity's up a rat's arse, obviously, but it is funny, and, at least to me, it's iconic. Shrek. What can I say about Shrek? Shrek is another example of a character that was never initially intended to be Scottish. Like Mrs Doubtfire, the accent of Shrek was something that was landed on pretty late into production by the lead actor specifically. You probably all know the stories of Shrek's troubled production by now, how the role was initially supposed to go to Chris Farley, but after his tragic and sudden death in the December of 1997, the entire design of Shrek had to be reworked from the ground up, with Mike Myers at the helm. Famous from his previous comedies, Wayne's World, and especially the smash success of the, at the time, 2 Austin Powers films. Now, truth be told, I'm a massive fan of Mike Myers, and I mention Austin Powers not just to say that it's banging, but also to shout out Fat Bastard, who Mike Myers played 2 years prior to Shrek coming out. So Mike Myers was no stranger to a Scottish accent by the time he played Shrek, mainly due to his ancestry being primarily Scottish.
The Eurocentric form that is the fairy tale is really about classism. When I was approached to do Shrek, originally I did it as a Canadian.
Swamp! Our swamp! Let go, donkey! You let go! Stubborn jackass! Smelly ogre!
And I re-recorded it as Scottish, because that to me seems the most working class. But also, too, I have a love of the Scottish people. I have Scottish ancestry and mostly English.
So let's get into the nitty gritty then. Is the accent good?
Oh, they'll shave your liver, squeeze the jelly from your eyes.
Actually, it's quite good on toast.
Oh, I know what. Maybe I could have decapitated an entire village and put their heads on a pike, gotten a knife, cut open their spleen and drink their fluids.
It's Scottish, alright. You can definitely hear Scottish in there, but if we're going to be really critical and scrutinous, then I do have to say you would be hard pressed to find somebody who actually talks like Shrek in Scotland. Maybe up in the hills somewhere you'll find some Shrek sounding lad, but at least from this Scotsman's view, it's not the most accurate in the world. But for all yous rolling your eyes asking why I'm even bothering deeply analysing the dialect of Shrek, that's why the second factor we have to consider here is Shrek's iconography. I mean, come on. You say Scottish movie character, I say Shrek, surely, right? There's naught more iconic to this country than this ogre. He gives Nessie a run for our money, and if we're going purely based on iconography, then Shrek would be up in S tier. But he is going to get some points taken off for authenticity by me, unfortunately. But still, a respectable A tier accent, I think. Fuck it, to finish it off, we're going to rank Fat Bastard as well.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! I'm bigger than you, I'm higher in the food chain! Get in my belly! Come on! You're lucky, wee man!
He's got pretty much the same accent as Shrek, but he's no quite as iconic, I'd argue. Plus, B tier is nice and empty, so I'm going to stick him in there. And there you have it, the highs, the lows, the do's, the don'ts of Scottish accents. We could very well make a sequel to this video further down the line, as a lot of films and characters that we didn't cover today. And also they're making a f***ing Highlander remake this year, starring Henry Cavill, so we might have to just make a sequel for that film specifically so we can get Henry Cavill on this tier list as well. But I am going to end it there for now, and leave it up to you guys to suggest some of your favourite Scottish accents that made you gasp or made you cheer. So leave some opinions down in the comments if you got them, and if you enjoyed yourself and you enjoyed this final list that we have, then do all that YouTube stuff. Like it, subscribe it, whatever. Cheers. See you next time.